Welcome back to this week's Lowdown. I'm John Waters, former Air Force fighter pilot, bringing you the latest in defense and aerospace news. Today, we're covering China's new J-20S. That's the family model, the two-seat version of their stealth fighter. Kind of looks like a Raptor, in my opinion, but neither here nor there. Quantum sensing threats. That's some science going on. Espionage arrests, the whole debacle around the E-7 Wedgetail, and a whole bunch more. With that being said, make sure you check out the Lowdown newsletter. You can click the link down below, subscribe. It's absolutely free, won't spam you, but each and every week you get these little nugget bombs. So check out the Lowdown newsletter down below. But with that being said, let's jump into it. So first, China's J20, the S variant, the family model, the two-seat guy. It's now operational and it's landed in the PLA Air Force. And this is a fifth-generation fighter that now has a weapons systems officer on board, a WISO. Now, there is some speculation that, hey, this could be a trainer version. My opinion that this probably is not a trainer. Now, in today's age with sim technology and just the advancements in training to begin with, producing a fifth-generation fighter that has two seats purely for a training, i.e. having an instructor in the back with a brand new fighter pilot in the front, learning that, doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense. Now, that being said, I guess who knows? This is an assumption on my part. And I think there are a lot of experts out there that are also saying the same thing. Now, having a WISO in a platform such as the J20S, I think expands the capability and the bounds of what that platform is capable of. When we start talking about collaborative wingmen or autonomous wingmen or loyal wingmen, whatever you want to call them, if you have a person in the back seat that is able to control the air fight or whatever type fight with a series of loyal wingmen, run electronic warfare, run airborne command and control, it really enhances the capability and just the reach that platform can have. So there you can see the primed up, painted version of the cockpit shot of the J-20 with two pilots in it. Now, this is laying outside Beijing in the 172nd Airborne Brigade, or Air Brigade, plus or minus. This brigade is responsible for advanced training. So I'm thinking B Corps style, the follow-on training from pilot training onto a major weapon system, such as the F-16, F-22, F-35, as well as this squadron serves as a combat reserve. The way I interpret that is, hey, you got combat fighter pilots that are now teaching the next crop of fighter pilots coming up. And yeah, sure, if the flag goes up, you could pull these pilots forward and deploy them. So that's the designation of that squadron. So I guess time will tell with the J-20S and really what it will become. Now into DARPA, which is sounding the alarm. The Deputy Director, Rob McHenry, appeared on the Mitchell Institute June 25th, 2025, and warned about quantum sensing in AI and how this could detect stealth aircraft. Now, there's a lot of beeps and squeaks that are going on with this. Now, when I think of this, the F-35, the B-21 might soon be vulnerable. There's already been vulnerabilities with stealth that have existed in the past, and they're out there on the internet, so go Google away. But nonetheless, if people are able to utilize quantum sensing, they could easily spot disturbances that stealth technology utilizes to hide, like magnetic fields, gravitational shifts, etc. So, and over to a real-life spy thriller, where in June of this year, the FBI and NCIS arrested two Chinese nationalists accused of spying for China's Ministry of State Security. Now, these alleged spies, which you can see pictured, one here, that's Yuan Chen, who's second from the left, is acting as an agent for the Chinese government. They focus on Navy recruitment centers, focusing on Chinese descent recruits. So there were recruits listed on a board, and they focus on Chinese descent recruits in particular, basically figuring out who's who. They watched the USS Abraham Lincoln in San Diego. They posed as tourists online, and they scouted military sites from California all the way to Washington. Now, they got caught with a dead drop in California, exchanging $10,000 from handlers from Guangzhou. So if they're convicted, they could face upwards of 10 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. This is just yet another example where the Chinese are actively and aggressively targeting U.S. military installations, sensitive operations, businesses on U.S. soil. Today's sponsor is Aura. Let's talk about online security. I recently had my email breach. It's a stark reminder of just how vulnerable we are in today's digital age. Ever wonder how scammers get your information? Well, data brokers sell your information without your consent. That's why I partnered with Aura. When I first signed up, I had over 60 data brokers that had my information and were out there selling it. Aura offers a whole host of services, including an all-in-one app that protects your identity, your money, your devices. It monitors the dark web. So if your information pops up there, it sends you real-time fraud alerts. And this service also includes a VPN, an antivirus, password management, and a whole bunch more. It's super easy to set up and easy to use. It's proactive at stopping threats. After my breach, Aura helped me lock down my data. I trust it for me and my family. You can try it for yourself. Go to the link down below or go to aura.com/afterburn and get a 14-day free trial. That's enough time for Aura to go to work, see where you're exposed, see where your risk points are, Again, try it for 14 days absolutely free by using the link down below or going to aura.com/afterburn. Over to India, where a British F-35 has had a bit of a rough patch. It had an in-flight emergency, a bunch of weather going on, and was forced to land at an airport that there is no way on earth I'm able to pronounce. Although I hope the pilot at least made an attempt to call that tower by its name. I'm sure they didn't, because I wouldn't. So now it's looking like that F-35 is going to be disassembled and brought back to the UK on a C-17. The Dutch and Norwegian F-35s are getting more guard duty from September to December this year. They'll protect equipment from Poland bound for Ukraine. This is at the request of NATO's SHAPE because they're concerned about the Russian threat on this equipment that's moving from Poland into Ukraine to support their efforts battling the Russians. They'll safeguard these supplies as well as provide counter airspace violation security. And in a recent development, a KC-46 had a mishap off Virginia this week that's refueling F-22s when its boom came off mid-flight. Now, this is being reported by ATC comms. It echoes a similar incident last year when F-15E off California also had a similar incident. Now, the KC-46 has been plagued with problems. We don't know what the cause of this was. Could have been turbulence, could have been the F-22, had issues on the boom. It could have been the remote vision system. This remote vision system, remember, removes the boom operator, which traditionally is in the back of the plane, laying on their stomach, refueling aircraft, now using a joystick and a computer monitor to manipulate the boom all the way from the cockpit versus the aft part. Now, it has had multiple delays, multiple issues. The final fix is now delayed to 2027, 3 years behind schedule. So a safety investigation undoubtedly will be underway because I'm sure this caused more than enough damage. More F-35 news. Germany is opening up a plant to build F-35A fuselage sections. This is up to 36 of them per year. So expanding this. Remember, this is a big joint coalition when it comes to building parts and components of the F-35 across all partner countries. Production kicks off this month, July 2025. It'll boost Germany's defense industry and adds up to 400 jobs. So a big move here, and obviously a big move for the F-35 in Germany just in general. Now on to the E-7 Wedgetail. We talked about this last week and the previous newsletter. So all of a sudden overnight, the E-7, the Wedgetail, which was the follow-on to the AWACS, has been cut. Several NATO partners fly the E-7, which has a MESA radar, electronically scanned arrayed radar, which replaces that dome on a much more efficient, much better when it comes to seeing air picture. Well, over 16 general officers, and I think former chiefs of staff of the Air Force have all written letters saying this is a bad idea. Now, there's probably a lot that we just don't know here or that we can talk about in this forum, but if I'm just making some assumptions, the Air Force over the years has made some drastic cuts all of a sudden, overnight, more than I think in previous time frames. And some examples of those would be, one, the J-Star went away overnight, basically just cut saying, hey, it's obsolete, can't survive. Now we have more modern technology that suffices to fill the J-Star's role. The follow-on to the H-860G combat search and rescue helicopter is the Whiskey model. The Air Force cut that by, I think, over 50 or so platforms. Don't quote me on it, but it was going to be around 120 and went down to 70, basically citing that it wouldn't be survivable in a high-end conflict. Same arguments being made for the E-7 here. So if we look at the radar capability, which classified but unclassified, comparable, say it's 400 miles that the E-7 can see. That's a high-value asset that F-35s, F-22s, like you still are tasked to protect if you're in a fight that the have asset doesn't get shot down. Well, all right, if that can see out to 400 miles and you're fighting J whatevers with PL whatever missiles that can go a very long distance, how much time do you have where that E-7 can be operating in that area without being threatened? So if it's 400 miles away and you got a modern fighter pointing at it going Mach 1.3, 1.5 with a very long stick of a missile like a PL-15, maybe you only have 10 or 15 minutes where that E-7 is no longer threatened. And obviously an E-7 can't run away as fast as it can be run down. Now, there's a lot more to it, but big picture saying the E-7 must be replaced with space-based assets or some kind of complement thereof. So a lot of generals are saying this is a bad idea. I personally question, I think it's more complex. Maybe there's a blend. E-7 probably is not survivable in a high-end fight. That's just a pure guess on my part looking at what's out there. So do you need it? Maybe not for a high-end fight, maybe somewhere else. So how do you allocate your money? So maybe we need the E-7, maybe we don't. I'd be curious to hear your comments and drop those down below. All right, if you're a newsletter subscriber, you will get the snapshot, which is a couple little other highlights going on around the globe. So make sure you check that out, as well as a breakdown of the threat of the day, which is the Chinese J-10, the Vigorous Dragon, which we have a quick breakdown there in the newsletter. So if you're curious, make sure you check that out. With that being said, click the link down below, get the newsletter, and we'll see you next time.